Morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is Monday, the 6th of February. As you guys know, we talked about it. This past Saturday was another play day. So kind of a kind of a mixed bag. We found out exactly how much we don't know about setup. So the track was in good shape, super tacky. There was a lot of grip on the track. We had some problems trying to handle the car. It was, it wouldn't turn the wheel, and it would kind of go straight, and then it would snap loose. So couldn't figure it out. We were really struggling with the car after our first two runs. I was gonna pack it up and go home. Just couldn't drive the car. Couldn't figure it out. We did try to loosen the car up. The Badeckers helped us out. The car looked super tight, I guess, from the stands. So we took a big swing at the car. We put spacers in the right rear, a half-inch spacer, and a quarter-inch spacer in the left front. Tried it again, and it was a little better. Came back in. We were still a little bit tight. We took the panhard bar. And I got to tell you, before we started this weekend, I had no idea what I'm talking about right now. However, we took the panhard bar and we moved it almost to the top. It's in the rear end above the rear axle housing. So we moved that up and almost to the top. We had one more hole to go. And the car was somewhat drivable. Our first run out, and you'll see a video of that, we spun twice, once right in front of Jace Badecker, unfortunately. Sorry about that, Jace. We spun out in front of Jace coming off of turn 4, and Jace got into our left front, and all it did bent up that left front rim a little bit, so we got to fix that. But it was a very frustrating day. Couldn't figure it out. Totally discouraged at the beginning of the day. There were a lot more cars out on the track, a lot more experienced guys, so it was kind of cool to run around people with more experience. I wanted to get behind them and try to figure out where they were running. We blamed the non-drivability of the track on everything, driver error, the car. I was searching for an answer. So we ended up the day not too bad. On setup wise, we were able to run fairly decent in the end. We do have some video of that. We dropped off the car yesterday for power steering at Spanky's house. Spanky looked down at the front end for about 2 seconds and asked us why we had negative caster in the front end. So Joey and I actually did our caster backwards. We put negative caster in the car, which causes all the issues that we had. That is an indication of negative caster. Not only that, once we got hit on that left front, we swapped it out with a different tire out of the trailer. Didn't even think about it, but the right front wheel has a 3-inch offset. Make sure that's right, 3-inch offset, and the left front had 3.5. So come to find out, you want your wider rim on the front right, not the front left. So we made the car about as bad as we could make it, and we went out and we were still able to turn laps. In my personal opinion, I didn't feel great about it. Felt like the car was garbage, but we got out there and we ran. I don't think we could have done any more wrong. So if you're out there like me and you're getting ready to get into dwarf car racing, man, just be patient. It was absolutely frustrating, but now it all makes sense after yesterday. I've got to thank Spanky for all of his input. Took him about 2 seconds to diagnose what was going on, and we'll get there. I'm not sure if our gauge was reading positive or negative. Apparently it was supposed to be reading negative because we had it backwards. So the car was a handful, but we learned a ton. The track was super tacky. We ran with some really good guys. We couldn't keep up with them for long, but we were able to stay up with them just a little bit. And man, we're hoping that things get better. So we do. This is a long video, so I'll keep it short. All I gotta tell you is, if you're out there, man, again, notes are your blessing. Power steering's about done. Spanky sent us a picture actually last night, and man, he made the dash absolutely. It's freaking amazing. It looks good. So we're getting that done. Hopefully we pick up the car this week. We're not back on the track until the 18th. So it looks like all those spacers and all the information that you'll see in coming up videos, throw it all out. It's all garbage. The technique is the same, only we went 180 degrees in the wrong direction. Oh, and also the right front ball joint was about as loose as it can get without falling out. So we set ourselves up for failure, and we actually got some laps in and got to be in the car again. So that was cool. So now we know what it feels like when the car is just about as bad as it can get. So we'll get on with the video. Again, man, if you guys like what we have going on, please subscribe to the channel. Let us know that that there are people out there that like this information. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the messages here. And without further ado, we'll get to the videos. You'll see our first contact of getting hit in the left front end. So let's get to it. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
So good morning, here we go. Yesterday was an absolute blast. Today it doesn't look like that's going to be the case so much. We got the car out of the trailer. She is a muddy mess. So we're going to do a little bit of cleanup. The grill, my brother-in-law took the grill. We're going to see if we can't get some covers made to cover that up a little bit more. But the fun part is racing. This is our first time to clean the car, and after yesterday, all the rain we're getting in California, it is a muddy mess. So we're gonna get to it, and 2 weeks is the next play day. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Joe and I are back in the garage today. It is Saturday 28th. We do have another play day next week, but I told you all we'd take a look at the car. It's still stripped down. Actually finished getting all the mud off of it probably Thursday night. So today we have 1 week until we have to have it set back up. So the Badeckers offered to help us out with setup, but Joe and I are going to go it on our own to see if we can't get it done. I'm not so certain that we will be able to, but we're going to give setup a chance today. So I wanted to show y'all the car without any of the skins on it. So this is what we got. This is the car. We're going to start putting the skins all back on. We got to do caster camber and toe this morning, and we'll get our ride heights and everything else. But for now, here's the car without the skins. This is what a dwarf car looks like, an M&M chassis dwarf car. So yeah, we're getting ready to start putting some skins back on. We'll take some pictures or some video of the front end here in a minute, and show you what changes we're going to make after talking to Spanky from M&M Chassis. We do have some other theories on how maybe to do the setup. So we'll get busy here throughout the day. We will get the video out and let you guys see what we're talking about. Again, by no means are we experts, but we're going to give it a go today, see how it goes, and we'll check back with you throughout the day. Good morning. Want to give a quick update. We're back in the garage. Give you a quick update on the weekend. Man, it was a busy weekend. We spent hours. We spent 8 hours on Saturday, about 3 hours on Sunday, and then did some research on the motor. So most of the work was on setup. So as you know, we definitely aren't setup gurus, but last time we did setup, I'll show you what we found. We actually used the Heinz joints to adjust the front caster in the car. And after talking to Spanky, that is one way to do it, but spacers are probably a better way to do that. So we ordered a whole bunch of spacers to get the caster set. And I'll tell you what we ran into with the camber also, which this goes back to my California public school system education. So we'll show you that real quick as we wrap up the weekend. Man, I'm telling you, it was a long one, but well worth it. We're supposed to be back on the track next Saturday, calling for rain on Friday, of course. So we'll see how that plays out. But let's start talking about what we found during setup. Again, I am definitely no expert, but yeah, here's what we found out. So as you saw, we actually have all the skins back on the car. We were looking at the engine a little bit, and we'll get into that. I'll tell you why we got into the electronics a little bit. But first, we'll talk about our setup on Saturday. We had the Badeckers come over. We spent about 8 hours. Jason Michelle climbed in the sim rig while we were out doing setup. So we probably did more bullshitting than setup work. But we were close on Saturday, and Joe came back over on Sunday, and we kind of redid everything. And it's going to sound insane. You're on an uneven garage floor, and you're not, to set your caster, you're supposed to turn the wheels 20 degrees. So we were using the trailing arm as recommended by Spanky, which are 22.5 degrees. And just because we could, we chased a 0.1 degree. We were at 1.9 split between the two fronts, and I wanted it at 2. So we set off on a journey to try to correct that. And that 0.1 probably did not make a difference with an uneven garage floor and not using the recommended 20 degrees, but we're there. So everything is absolutely spot on. But here's some of the issues that we ran into getting there. So first, when we started setup, we started with squaring the front end. We started with actually putting a level across the end of the frames here, across both sides. This side, the left side, was about 1/8 to 1/4 inch off. I will tell you that's easily fixed. Those of you that have done setup 100 times, this is probably going to be pretty boring to you. But those that were like me, just take the trailing arm and you extend and push that front out. So that was exactly on. So camber, we did get into camber. As you know, maybe I showed you last time, the Heinz joint. On both front ends last time when we were adjusting the caster, we used the Heinz joint. So we ran these way out on the back more than the front to try to get that caster into the front end. And it made logical sense to me that the further this Heinz joint threads were showing, the weaker that connection would be. So we started by running them all the way in and kind of starting over. So to adjust our camber, we came to the right side. It was pretty easy. We ran these all the way in, then took our caster camber gauge, and the right side wasn't too difficult. We got that set right on. Now, the left side, and here's where that poor education comes. So the left side, our left side tire was actually a negative camber, and you want that, from what I understand, is from 0 to +1, and we were at a negative number. So, which meant the top of this tire was actually leaning out to give you that negative number instead of in. So I'm looking at this front end. What I thought is we would take the Heinz joints here on the upper A-arm and pull them in, which would, in my mind, tilt this tire and give you that little bit of negative or positive camber in that front end.
So we ran those in. We ran them in, and it made it worse. Somehow shortening this made this go out more. Don't know how, don't know why, but we ran these out just a little bit, so the front end is right, the left front is right at 0. So that's something that I learned that I didn't know before. We got down to 1.9 degree split in the front end on caster. And as you can see, we no longer have these Heims joints run way out to adjust for camber. We actually ordered a bunch of these spacers that we have here, and you really don't need one in the back, but we put one just because. So we got spacers here and a couple of washers here, and to get that 0.1 degree, this is actually 2 grade 8 washers. We actually had one on this side, and we took it out of this side and put it on this side. That actually pushed this pushed it this way just a hair, but that was enough to get our 0.1. So I highly recommend adjusting this with your with spacers. I think it looks a heck of a lot better, and to me it looks like it really stabilizes that front end versus having those Heims joints threads way out of that A-arm up front. So here's what the kind of the same theory to get your different numbers. You can see we got 2 flat washers here and a real big and a single washer here, and that put us right on. So not a lot of Heims joints threads showing. I think that makes that joint a lot stronger. So next, I ran the numbers on this block, and it is indeed a 08 ZX10R, but an 08 Kawasaki also has fuel injectors, a second set of fuel injectors that goes on top of the air box in the original configuration when it's on the bike. And we don't obviously have a second set of injectors. So that told me the one of two things, and again, talking to Spanky, that our ECM was probably not from an '08 Kawasaki. So I took yesterday very reluctantly. Obviously, I didn't like digging into anything. Our ECM sits right underneath this rectifier. It's got a rubber strap. So we had to actually pull this off of the top to get to the computer. Your ECM is underneath here, but we were able to unplug it and pull it out. And come to find out, the ECM on this particular car is an 0607. So we got to do some research. It ran super well, but I'm not sure how well. But yeah, we're trying to get it as close to. I don't want equipment to be our shortcoming. I want the driver to be the shortcoming, as it is supposed to be. So I'm trying to get everything on the car as good as I can get. So I only have myself to blame if something goes wrong. So yeah, we got an 0607 ECM running an 08 ZX10R motor. So yeah, I don't know what that means. We'll have to do some research and find out. We did order a second motor. The second motor is on the way. We ordered another 2008 ZX10, and supposedly has 2,500 miles on it. It's supposed to be here on Wednesday. So we'll have that motor. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how we do that. We're thinking maybe we have that engine looked at, and at the end of this season swap them out, and then get this one freshened or looked at, so that we still do have a spare motor. So that's the plan there. While the skins were off, we heard the controversy over the months since we first got started. You can see down in here, we took that pole bar out and actually put a solid bar back in. So crazy busy weekend. 8 hours on Saturday, about 3 hours on Sunday, and then we spent yesterday doing all engine research, and yeah, we're trying to get it as close to perfect as we can again. So all we have to blame is the driver. So we're going to get there. We're learning a ton. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, if you like what we have going on, please subscribe to the channel. It'd be great to get to 100 subscribers at some point. So yeah, greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. Next time that have a video, we may be loading the car for Saturday's next play day. We did get the GoPro figured out, so we should have some pretty cool onboard video. So thank you all for tuning in, and until next time, we'll see you.